creatures that you declare as attackers, you know, when you tap them to attack, are forced to attack Gideon.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. So here we are, round 9 of the Star City Games Open Series here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Gavin Verhey. I'm joined here by level 3 judge.
That's correct.
Ricky Hayashi. And we're about to watch a really cool feature match between two non-Caw-Blade decks.
Non-Caw-Blades.
Two pretty interesting decks, actually. On your right is Donnie Noland. Donnie is playing a mid-rangey Jund deck. It's got some big fatties, some ramp spells. It's like a rug, but instead of the blue, he's like, I'm going to play black instead. And so it's got Grave Titan, Inferno Titan, Sarkin the Mad, Liliana Vess, Explore.
I love this singleton Red Sun Zenith he's got here.
The Zenith to get him going along. And then on your left side is Elliot Mork. Elliot is playing Elves. Just everything you can imagine in an Elf deck.
And he let off without a 1-drop here for Elves.
So he must have a pretty spicy hand. It looks like he has Arbor Elf in his hand. He must have just drawn it.
Right, and he plays the Fauna Shaman. Donnie's got the Lotus Cobra, which is exactly what he wants on turn 2.
Yeah. Lotus Cobra just explodes you so fast.
How many fetch lands does he have?
Well, there's one right.
Oh,
I was thinking about it.
Thinking about Verdant Catacombs. He's calculating whether he can make some kind of monstrous play on turn 3.
Yep, he goes for Verdant Catacombs.
He's going to make a mana. 3.
Oh.
So he's currently floating a mana?
Yeah.
Off the Cobra? If he remembered. We don't know for sure.
He didn't indicate what color he was adding.
Well, we can't tell if they said anything or not.
True.
So in theory, he's got 2 mana from the Cobra right now.
I'd be insane if he cast a
Titan.
A Titan right here. I don't think he has it, but the one interesting thing about Elliot Mork's deck, only 2 Jiraga Warcallers. Otherwise, and 4 Viridian Corruptors. Otherwise, it's pretty standard.
Those Viridian Corruptors.
4 Corruptors. Those Corruptors not doing a lot in this matchup.
No. But that's interesting. What can he pump with? He's got the Warcallers and Azuri Renegade Leader and Elvish Archdruid, so he could get random.
Chandra Nalar. All swamps and forests with Chandra Nalar.
So he did make 2 red mana off the Lotus Cobra here, is what we have to assume.
Oh. And that card is quite the beating. The one Chandra came down and just off that Fauna Shaman.
Killed the Fauna Shaman. Wow, turn 3 Chandra.
Yeah, and that's pretty brutal for Elliot Mork because that Chandra is going to keep doing damage.
It's going to kill 2 or 3 of his creatures. And he has no haste, so he can't deal with that.
He has Vengevine.
Oh, he's got... okay, good. He's got the Vengevines for the Fauna Shaman engine. So that's what he really needs right here. He needs to... And it's only turn 3, though, so...
Okay. There's an Archdruid. Gonna guess that Chandra is gonna eat that Archdruid up.
Or is he tapping for... Donnie's got another Lotus Cobra, so now...
It's bonkers.
He's gonna play land, get 2 mana, and play a 5-drop... No, Persecutor.
Just taps an extra mana.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really need it, so, why not?
Forgot he had that second Lotus Cobra. Chandra kills the Archdruid.
Chandra Nalar in action, ladies and gentlemen. Not a card you see very often, but certainly insane.
Not. Some people think she's one of the worst planeswalkers, right up there with Liliana Vess, but here she is, killing off Elves.
And both of them in Elliot Mork's deck, no less. Or in Donnie Noland's deck.
Oh, he's got Liliana,
He's got Liliana also. And right there.
Oh, man. And Sark, he's got 2 Sark in the man.
Yeah, he's like, nobody likes these planeswalkers. I'm going to play with all these ones. All of my children need love.
Gotta love. And what is this, X1 right now we're watching?
X1 match right here.
X1 with the rejected planeswalkers.
And the winner of this match will likely be able to draw into top 8, assuming their tiebreakers are good enough. I know Donnie Noland didn't take his loss till 2 rounds ago. Round 7, I think.
So Elliot Mork has reloaded the board with a Jiraga Tree Speaker and an Arbor Elf.
Yep. And, Donnie deals 1 damage to Elliot with that Chandra Nalar, slowly building its way back up.
Yeah, he's got some blockers, so he's not worried right now.
So it's Garrick.
Keeps the Elves at bay.
That's a Garrick. Oh, man.
Promo Garrick.
Oh, that's why he has a Liliana's deck, because he opened up a Garrick versus the Liliana dual deck, and I was like, oh, I need one of each.
Dual deck or duet deck?
Ah.
The April Fool's joke on Daily MTG.
along with and he attacks with the Persecutor and the Cobra, along with the deck registration simulator.
Oh yeah,
I got a kick out of.
Trying to spell Skithiryx was hilarious. All right, so Arbor Elf trades with Lotus Cobra. Persecutor gets in for 6 damage, flying.
Yep. And normally that Lotus Cobra trade is one that Elliot would be happy with, but in this position, when he's just trying to rebuild his board, Donnie's perfectly happy to trade up.
Right, Donnie already has 5 lands in play and a Garruk, so he should be able to play anything in his deck.
Yep. I think the only limiting factor on Donnie's being able to win this game at this point is being able to kill that Abyssal Persecutor.
Right, which he has. Well, he's got a couple of Go for the Throats, he has Consuming Vapors, and he's got the Sark in the Mads. He could sacrifice the Persecutor to make a dragon.
And you can also Liliana Vest up, potentially something. Red Sun Zenith could also kill it, I suppose. So it looks like Elliot levels up Jiraga Tree Speaker.
Elliot is at 9 life, 6 from the Persecutor. Chandra could deal 1.
Oh, he just concedes.
Did he show him something right there at the end? Maybe
no,
like
he just drew Explore. Nothing came down.
All right.
I mean,
so how are they going to sideboard here? Let's take a look at Elliot's list.
Important thing to remember is that Abyssal Persecutor does not allow your opponent to win the game, as it turns out. So maybe should have held in on that one. But
yeah, maybe he forgot about that ability.
Yeah, me and Conley played that card, several of my opponents just forgot about it when I had nothing going on. So anyway, going to the sideboards for the Elliot Mork playing Elves. It seems like, let's see, Throne the Last Troll could be a card.
Oh, yeah. Now, I don't know if Elliot knows that Donnie has the Consuming Vapors, but certainly against a normal deck like this with a lot of removal, Thrun is very good, so that's a possibility.
Maybe Eldrazi Monument.
Leyline of Vitality, is that any good here? The extra toughness? Probably not.
I don't think so. Leyline of Vitality is an interesting choice. I think it's probably only for mono red decks. There's no like Volcanic Fallout to protect yourself from in this format.
Yeah.
So
Elliot does have 3 Garruks, which we could see him bring in to kill Donnie's Garruks. An Eldrazi Monument. What about that?
Yeah, I mean, so the interesting thing in Elliot's deck is he's got these 4 Viridian Corruptors, which aren't doing anything because they destroy artifacts, and all Donnie has is Wormcoil Engine.
Yeah, singleton Wormcoil Engine.
And I think it should be pretty clear from game 1 that he doesn't have a lot of artifacts.
Yeah.
So
those come out.
Those are definitely coming out, the 4 Corruptors.
So you could bring in 2 Trolls and 2 Garruks, maybe?
Yeah, maybe finds room for the 3rd Garruk somehow. I'm not sure what else you cut, but could be something. As far as Donnie Noland goes...
On the other side...
Oh, this is brutal.
Ooh.
To consume the meek.
Yeah, killing all of the small elves. The Moor side, probably not that useful. Shatter, no. Consuming Vapors, he might board another one in.
I can see that Consuming Vapors.
Everything else, Obstinate Baloth, Acidic Slime, no real targets. Donnie's also got a Throne.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see it in game 2, but if he sees it in game 2 and it goes to game 3, I can see boarding that Throne in just a legendary.
They are legendary. Yeah. And 1 Gaia's Revenge, also not really useful in this matchup. So Donnie probably overloading on removal with Consume the Meek and an extra Consuming Vapors. Taking out, what can he take out here? He's got all this removal. Maybe he takes out the Grave Titans.
Yeah, I think you just cut some of your top-end fatties.
Yeah. Inferno Titan's still good because you can just Arc Lightning. But Grave Titan making 2 blockers, at that point in the game, you probably either already turned the tide.
I mean, the other card I can see taking out is Liliana Vest. I don't think it's very good in this matchup. The Elf deck isn't going to be hoarding cards. Although you can't get removal every turn, which is nice.
Or the Sark in the Mads?
I can see taking out Sarkin too, yeah. I think those are potential cuts also.
Yeah. You might want to cut back on the Planeswalkers if, Elliot comes out with a fast start with a bunch of elves. It's not that useful to have a Planeswalker.
Yeah, that game Elliot didn't really have a good start, but if he goes turn 1 like Arbor Elf, turn 2 anything.
With this deck, does it mulligan poorly enough that you don't want to mulligan? Because keeping a hand without a 1-drop here for this deck, he's got Llanowar Elves and Arbor Elves.
Yeah, I mean, I would Your 1-drops are really, I've played a lot of elves, and your 1-drops are really important. You can keep hands without them, but unless you have a really good reason you don't want to, it's possible that he thought he had some kind of read on Donnie's deck with that turn 2 Fauna Shaman and thought there was maybe something there, but maybe not. With that Chandra from Donnie Noland,
on turn 3, no less.
Really set Elliot back. Because if he untaps with that Fauna Shaman, the game is probably different.
All right, here we go.
All right, yep.
Game 2. That's the start he wants, is turn 1 Elf. Donnie's got the Copper Line Gorge. Elliot untaps the forest. He's got 3 mana for an Archdruid. There you go, turn 2 Archdruid. This is pretty close to a perfect draw for Elliot so far.
That's like the ideal start. Looks like Eldrazi Monument is hiding in Elliot's hand, so he did bring those in. And that's going to be really good against those Consume the Meeks, especially the one in Donnie's hand right now.
Well, Donnie might not even have enough time to get up to that. He did not have a Lotus Cobra or an Explorer on turn 2, so no ramp. And what's Elliot going to explode with here? Another Arbor Elf, which does have +1/+1 from the Archdruid. He's got a bunch of 2/2 elves.
And now I think he's choosing between Garruk or Vengevine. He has 2 Eldrazi Monuments in his hand otherwise.
Archdruid taps for 3. He's got 4 mana. Goes for the Garruk. What'll it be? Beast or lands? It's got to be untap the lands because he can just threaten that overrun, right? Oh no, goes for the beast.
Goes for the beast, indeed.
Okay, so he's going to play for a little bit more, a little slower here.
Serves in for 2 with that token, or with the Arbor Elf.
There's the Explorer.
So turn late on that Explorer for Donnie, but
And
I'm sure he's trying to get to Consume.
And we see a Lotus Cobra in his hand.
Okay.
So he plays his land for the turn, land for Explore, and drops the Lotus Cobra. So now he can really, if that Cobra stays alive, he can get the double black for the Consume the Meek.
It looks like there's a Sarkin the Mad and a Grave Titan hiding in Donnie's hand.
So he kept both of those cards in.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't board at all.
Maybe not. I mean, well,
he's got the Consume. So what? Wonder what he took out.
It's possible he shaved one of the Sarkins and left one in.
That's true.
I'm not sure.
Alright, so more Arbor Elf untapping to get 3 mana. Oh no, and he untapped with Garruk to play the Monument. So now he's got flying, indestructible 3/3 elves.
That's pretty brutal. And he's got a Vengevine he can play out too if he wants. I think that's what we're going to see here.
So he taps the Archdruid for 3, plays the Vengevine.
Take 9.
Oh, and he's got the token, so 9 damage in the air.
Yeah. And even that Consume the Meek not doing a lot right now.
Cannot destroy anything anymore. They are indestructible. And he puts the reminder on top of his library.
Good idea. Especially because with Eldrazi Monument, I guess it is mandatory, so you would back up in that situation? Is that
no, you just put the trigger on the stack, and he would be forced to sacrifice a creature at that point, whenever they remember the trigger.
It's not a trigger. It's not like how many of the cards are worded where if you forget, it'll go
Right,
away.
it's not like Echo, where if you forget, you must sacrifice it. It is mandatory to sacrifice. If you can't sacrifice a creature, then the monument goes away. So Donnie's in a tight spot here. A lot of his outs are going to be invalidated by the monument.
Yeah, I don't know what he can do. He doesn't have a flyer. He can't kill any of those creatures.
Persecutors do fly, but does he have one here? I think he might have a Persecutor, but that's still not going to help. I mean, you block a creature, can't even kill it.
Reads the monument to make sure it gives indestructible.
Right. Yep. My removal is blanked. He reads the monument. All right, so now he's going back to his sideboard. He's seen the monument. He has a Singleton Shatter.
Come on, Shatter.
Maybe Memoricides if he's really worried about the monuments.
I can see the acidic slime potentially if he wants to slime away a monument. The problem is the slimes are pretty bad against everything else, so if Mork plays a monument, it's great. But if he doesn't, you have a 5-mana 2/2 Death Touch, which I guess blows up a land. Not that exciting.
And And it doesn't look like Elliot went back to his sideboard. He's pretty happy with how that game turned out.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he wanted the first game.
But Donnie's thinking here. Man, I lost a monument.
Man, who does that anymore?
Right. It's been a year and a half since the Andersons swept Nashville with Monument.
Yeah.
Todd and Callie met up in the finals, didn't they?
Yeah.
The Nashville.
Yeah, it was the finals, I think.
At that time, they were still 5Ks, I believe, before the Open Series took form.
That was the first. That was the first thing, right? That was the first one. I believe.
What, Monument?
No, the one the Monument one, the Cali one. That was the first one before there was like anything, I think.
I think they had like maybe a half dozen 5Ks that year.
Okay.
And then the following year they upgraded to the Open Series format.
Yeah, just great tournaments, like totally worth coming out to. 500 strong here, a little over 500, 518 players.
I mean, you remember when 500 was a good GP?
Yeah, I
right?
mean, we had GPs last year that didn't get 500 people.
Did we?
Yeah, Houston.
No, Houston had about 600 or 700, I thought.
Really?
Yeah.
All I remember is Houston was really underattended.
It was,
weekend.
And it was the extended season, which was not very popular.
Yeah.
Because Dark Depths was far too dominant. So Donnie's made his changes here. Shuffling up.
500 people for an event is great. It's awesome turnout. And
I love it. I love seeing people play Magic and enjoying it. And seeing people travel for it, too.
I mean, it's great seeing that the Players Club it's so good, and it's breeded such a good environment for players like Jerry Thompson, Alex Bertoncini, AJ Soccer. Like, they get those Players Club points, and then they just get awesome rewards for playing in all these tournaments, you know? Like, Alex gets $250 now when he's just up to a tournament, I believe. Is he level 7, or is he still level 6?
I think he was at level 6. He's level 7 as of this tournament.
As
so
of
the
this
next
tournament.
The next event he goes to, he will get his level 7 benefits.
Even then, still making $100 every tournament he goes to.
Yeah, and that should cover a great deal of his travel expenses. So kind of free rolling the tournament. He also gets free entry for his level benefits and two buys. Free sleeves. Don't daze me, bro. Which one's your favorite, Gavin?
It's definitely Don't Daze Me, bro.
Yeah.
Your Fired comes in a close second.
Are you a fan of The Apprentice?
I am a fan of The Apprentice.
Are you watching the Celebrity Apprentice right now? We'll talk about that later.
Maybe
off the air. All right, so Donnie starts with a forest and a fetch land, Verdant Catacombs. Elliot has the 1-drop again, Llanowar Elves.
Right, let's see if Donnie has the removal spell.
Yeah, if he can kill that Llanowar Elves, it could slow down Elliot. Don't want to see him play another turn 2 Archdruid.
Yeah, it'll really temper Elliot's start if he can cut off his early.
Does he have Go for the Throat?
Nope, Lotus Cobra. Still very threatening.
That's not bad. He can play something, turn 3. He got Red Sun Zenith.
Consuming Vapors.
Consuming Vapors. So Elliot's got the draw again with the turn 3 Archdruid.
That's the draw you want to have.
Donnie has the fetch land. Make a mana with Lotus Cobra.
And I think you probably Zenith the Archdruid for 2.
Drops a card. Picks it back up quickly, and yeah, that's what he did. So he made a red mana off Lotus Cobra and killed the Archdruid.
Yep.
And it's exiled too, which I guess is not relevant here.
There's still one Molten Tail Masticore. So I guess it could be relevant, theoretically.
It would be very relevant for Vengevines to Red Sun Zenith. So that's a little extra benefit. I actually forgot that Red Sun Zenith did that.
Kind of a random effect on the end of it.
Yeah.
So it looks like Donnie's hand is pretty stocked. It's got Consume the Meek, Consuming Vapors,
Abyssal Persecutor.
Abyssal Persecutor.
And Elliot,
I don't see another land,
I see a Tree Speaker, which he's going to play here. And another 1-drop, an Arbor Elf. And another 1-drop. So he's loaded up with 2 Arbor Elves, Tree Speaker, and a Llanowar Elf. And Donnie's just going to crush him here, right?
He doesn't have a land. So I think he cracks a land, and I think he's just going to potentially Consuming Vapors.
So
or do you think he's going to go for Persecutor?
Let's see what happens here. I don't think Consuming Vapors is that useful here. It just picks off an Arbor Elf.
Yeah. If you put down Persecutor, okay. So he does go for Consuming Vapors. I was going to say, if you put down Persecutor, you have Elliot on 3 turns, and hopefully by then you found a land so you can Vapors yourself.
Yeah.
But with the double Vapors, if he draws a land, it's pretty brutal.
He does Vapors targeting Elliot. Elliot sacks an Arbor Elf.
Yep.
See if Donnie puts no reminder on his library for the rebound.
Seems like, especially with that Consume, maybe playing Persecutor is correct, but it's hard to know in this slot. I'm sure he's worried that maybe Elliot's...
I mean, Elliot already has enough mana to do whatever he wants in his deck, so...
Except for Vengevine, perhaps. But other than that...
So he levels up, makes 3 mana for an Archdruid.
Okay. And now Donnie does have Go for the Throat he can use on that Archdruid on his next turn. He'll rebound Consuming Vapors, and I guess he's just slowly picking away Elliot's creatures.
Yeah, he's gonna leave him with only 2 creatures after this. So Elliot activates Oran Reef the Vastwood to put a counter on Archdruid.
So Archdruid is now a 3/3, everything else a 2/2. I guess Dragon Tree Speaker is a 2/3.
So the funny thing about the Archdruid is that Donnie's going to gain an extra life from that extra toughness here.
How convenient. So draws Lightning Bolt, but
still doesn't have a land.
Yep, does not have a land, but still doing a pretty good job of
yeah, keeping Elliot off of the critical mass of guys. Just a Tree Speaker and an Arbor Elf now is not a lot of beatdown. I think Elliot's got a Fauna Shaman though.
Yeah, that Fauna Shaman's going to be a big issue.
Yeah, if Donnie's out of spot removal, Elliot could take back control of the game with the Fauna Shaman.
Now Donnie does have a Lightning Bolt in his hand, but if
needs a red mana, or just needs a land with the Lotus Cobra.
Right, any land would do it.
So Oran Reef counter on the Fauna Shaman.
There's the land.
So we're most likely going to see Lightning Bolt on the Fauna
He
Shaman.
can not only Lightning Bolt, but he can also play Consuming Vapors thanks to the Lotus Cobra.
There's that. Lightning Bolt.
Oh, new plan.
Persecutor. Yeah, he's just not afraid of those 2 guys anymore.
Yeah.
And he wants to save the Consume for his own Persecutor if he doesn't draw anything else.
Absolutely. And so he serves in with that Cobra fearlessly, deal 2 points of damage, and Elliot opts to not block.
What can Elliot Mork top deck here to get himself out of this?
Is Admiral Eldrazi Monument in Elliot's hand?
Can't quite see.
I saw 2 of the cards were green, but I couldn't quite see.
Yeah, he's got a monument, but with only 2 creatures, that's just not enough right here.
It's a little risky.
He's also got an Azuri, Renegade Leader. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to go for the monument. Wow.
Monument. But
just trying to buy some time against that Persecutor by holding it off, maybe.
Now, that Persecutor does have Trample.
Ooh.
So it doesn't even prevent that much damage.
Oh no, he's trying to race.
Oh no, he just added some.
Oh, okay. Yeah, since we can't hear what they're saying, he taps that Arbor Elf. It's like he just attacked. Nope.
Nope. Looks like Explore for Donnie Noland. Okay. So he chooses to.
So he's gonna use up the Consuming Vapors here.
Yep.
We'll need to find another way to kill off his Persecutor once he gets Elliot down below 0.
Unless Elliot just concedes prematurely again in this game.
Sure, we saw him do that in Game 1.
Now I think you probably just attack with that Persecutor. So, yeah, so he sacrifices Drago with Tree Speaker to the Eldrazi Monument.
And now he's only got the 1 guy. What's he gonna do here? 3 mana Azuri.
Okay. And he can pump it with the Oran Reef of Vastwood.
Can't, which is what he does. Can't attack because the Persecutor's on defense. Go.
So yeah, he's playing the defensive game with Persecutor here.
Donnie Noland says sack a creature. I don't care if they're indestructible.
Yep. And now I think we'll likely see that a Persecutor come in for
trample
damage.
he's going to trample over Azuri and try to put on the races. Well, because Azuri has to get sacrificed to the monument now.
Right.
So it's not even going to swing back.
No.
Oh, no.
In fact, I wonder if he realizes this Persecutor has trample. Maybe
So it's possible that both players have missed something about Abyssal Persecutor, the underused card. Always read your cards and know what they do, right?
Very important. Is that obstinate Bailoff for Elliot Mork? I couldn't quite make out what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. But he can't play it because it's just going to get sacrificed. So he has to wait a turn for his own monument to go away.
Oh, rough.
Now here we go. Swing in for 8.
Drops Elliot down to 8.
Okay, Donnie says go. Monument gets sacrificed.
He's got a bolt in his hand.
Well, the Bailoff will at least gain him 4 life and buy him a turn. Elliot goes back to 12.
Buy him some more time. Let's see. Plays
Raging Ravine.
Nice little land. And in comes in Persecutor for 6. Going to drop Elliot down to
So
6.
back down to 1 swing from the Persecutor, but Donnie has not found a way to kill it yet, has he?
No, he hasn't.
We'll see if we get that premature scoop again.
We'll see what happens.
Never scooped a Persecutor.
Persecution. Alright, Bailoff serves in.
Bailoff swings. 4 damage. Donnie's at 21 life still.
Yeah.
Gains all that life from the consuming vapors.
Man, yeah, great position for Donnie. He's sitting at 25, or 21, I guess. But alright, Orin Reef makes those 2/2s.
That's something. If Donnie doesn't find a way to kill Persecutor, he's got 1 bolt in his hand.
Right, and it Consume the Meek, which could potentially set Elliot Mork back.
Raging Ravine is activated. Gets a counter, becomes a 4/4.
Alright.
Will he scoop? Will it blend?
You're going to be at 0, dude.
Now, do you think Donnie's doing anything here, trying to play a mind trick? Like, are you dead? Are you dead?
Nope,
he goes into the negatives.
He just takes it.
So now Elliot just has to start swinging back and try to kill Donnie before Donnie finds a way to kill his own Persecutor.
Now we're in this ridiculous game state.
And it's a good thing we've got the negative life counter on our screen here.
Yeah, -4. That is correct. Abyssal Persecutor holding Elliot Mork captive at -4 life.
Elliot swings with the team. Donnie chump blocks the Bailoff with Lotus Cobra.
Now he's going to draw it right here.
Yeah, let's see if we can see his draws. There's a foil.
It's pretty, whatever it is.
What is that?
Acidic slime. So he did bring the slimes in for the monument.
Right. Killing, yeah, Oran Reef. Doesn't want him pumping any more guys.
I would actually kind of be tempted to hold that slime just in case another monument comes down. But I guess there's a problem now. Elliot can't really ever attack.
Well, he can attack with guys that don't kill. Oh, but
He's the bolt.
Donnie's got the bolt in his hand. So if Elliot attacks with the Bailoff here, Donnie's going to block and bolt his own Persecutor.
So now, this is a really interesting interaction too as a judge. So if you were to overrun that Garrick and attack Donnie for lethal, and Donnie blocks with Persecutor and bolts his own Persecutor before damage, and the Persecutor would die, is the game a draw or does Elliot win?
If he overruns for lethal trample damage, Elliot is going to win because the state-based actions for Elliot losing, Donnie losing, and the Persecutor dying would all be simultaneous, but the Persecutor would prevent Elliot from losing.
So in a really interesting interaction, I'm not saying that's going to happen anytime soon. It's still a lot of work for that Garrick to do, and Persecutor can just swing in, but the game could potentially end with Elliot at -4 life. And Donnie
staving that off with the Consume the Meek. Some Llanowar elves are going to die, so...
Yeah.
Oh, and he made a beast, so beast dies.
Now he attacks Garrick. And Garrick's going to go away, probably.
Right, because Garrick's at 2 counters. Donnie attacks with Acidic Slime. Oh, goes for the trade.
Nope, he says, my Garrick is too important. I feel like the overrun's how I'm going to win, or something is how I'm going to win.
Well, but Donnie still has Persecutor. Like, even... Okay, makes another Beast. 3/3 Beast token.
There's a
And a War Caller with 1 counter.
Donnie's still searching for an answer.
Still looking for a way to seppuku his Abyssal Persecutor.
So let's see, he's used 2 Consuming Vapors. So he has his 1 Red Sun Zenith, 2 Go for the Throats.
And he cast a Bolt earlier, he's got 1 in his hand, so 2 more bolts.
Sarkin the Mad if he left those in.
Chandra. And, yeah, Chandra.
Players, if you have won at least 2 of your
Inferno
matches,
Titan would do
I have
it.
prizes
And,
for you.
Inferno Titan plus Lightning Bolt.
Legacy Challenge players.
So Raging Ravine attacked Garrick, and the Beast token chump blocked is what looks like what happened.
Oh,
Molten Tail Masticore.
Wow.
Alright, so he left in the Singleton Masticore, and he's drawn it here, Elliot Mork has.
And that Masticore is really awesome for him here, too.
That is a very interesting card to draw right here. Wow.
That is
Donnie draws a land.
still trapped under his Abyssal Persecutor.
Can Elliot Mork turn this around with the Molten Tail Masticore?
Wow. And remember when that Red Sun Zenith removed Shark Druid on turn 3?
Right,
Now,
so
it
it was
matter.
potential, but so many creatures have died. Elliot must have enough creatures in his graveyard to finish this off.
Yeah. I mean,
If
it's going to take a while.
Now, did he put a counter on top of his library? Because he does need to discard to keep that Masticore around.
I did not see him put a token on top of his library.
We might see him forget.
Alright, so Persecutor eats up
Alright,
Garrick.
gets rid of Garrick.
Alright, he remembered. There's the force he
Oh.
needed, though. And now he can't ever do anything with the
Oh,
Masticore.
wow.
Because he has to discard everything.
Because he used Garrick to generate the 4 mana to play Masticore. He did not actually have 4 actual mana sources.
So now he's locked.
So they're both locked under their own cards.
Yeah, that Masticore's never doing anything. Because he has to discard his card every turn.
He should have actually just let that master... and there it is. Sarkin the Mad.
Sarkin the Mad. -2 target Abyssal Persecutor. Do you have any responses?
Destroy the Persecutor to make a dragon, and...
That's game.
That's game.
Donnie
Wow.
Noland takes it, and it's
So
well poised to make
He
top
left the Sarkin the Mads in, and it paid off because he needed to get rid of his Persecutor.
Absolutely. Wow, that's actually a really interesting game, trying to watch Donnie trying to take care of his own Persecutor.
And now Donnie is potentially into the top 8 if he can secure an ID in the next round.
Yeah.
And Elliot might still be in contention at X2.
X2, at least top 16 if he wins his
Yeah,
next
certainly.
round.